Okay, my friends, if you would like me to tell you that this fragrance is so good, you know what? I will tell you that it's so good because it is absolutely amazing. Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. If you'd like me to tell you that it has a fresh, creamy, sexy alluringness about it, I will, because it's all of those things. If you'd like me to tell you that it's smooth, that it's classy, you can dress it up, you can dress it down, it's very versatile, that of designer fragrances, this is the creme de la creme, I will tell you those things because it is all of those things and so much more. I mean, okay, I need to spray. Like I say, of designer fragrances, this, my friends, is the creme de la creme. In fact, Chanel in general is, of designers, the creme de la creme. Let's talk about Chanel. Okay, we're going to review a clone of Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme, but let's just talk about Chanel. I don't have them all, but I have quite a lot of Chanels in my collection. And let me tell you, my friends, the big difference between Chanel and then, say, for example, Calvin Klein or Hugo Boss. You know, Hugo Boss and Calvin Klein, I'm not picking them out, I'm not saying they're rubbish or anything, I'm just saying the big difference between Chanel and the likes of those is that Chanel, they launch a fragrance and it is honed to perfection, as opposed to sort of churning out fragrance after fragrance every couple of 3 months, just banging a fragrance out like the others do. Chanel take their time, they make it the perfect fragrance and then they launch it. And to be fair, it's an infrequent launch with Chanel. I'm going to say that the last sort of significant launch from Chanel was 2010. Okay, that's a mighty long time ago, but it was Blood of Chanel, and you know what? Once again, it was honed to absolute perfection. But what about Chanel as a brand? I mean, it is the creme de la creme. Each Chanel is an absolute legend. What about this one? Antaeus pour Homme. Yeah, I mean, alright. This is the stuff that Greek gods wear. And you're going to say, maybe you're going to say, like it smells a little bit dated. It does smell a little bit dated, but nevertheless it is a legend and you cannot argue with this fragrance. You smell Antaeus pour Homme and you know exactly what it is. No offence to Calvin Klein, but you smell a Calvin Klein, and personally I would struggle to pick out exactly which Calvin Klein, for example, it is. But when you smell Antaeus, you know you've just smelled a legendary fragrance. What about the original Pour Monsieur? And I don't actually have a bottle of the fragrance, but I've still got me deodorant. I've still got the deodorant. Okay, now you might say, Leggy, once again, a little bit on the dated side. It smells sort of very traditional, sort of barbershop sort of fragrance. But once again, you cannot argue with this fragrance. It is a legendary fragrance. And then you come to this one. Boy. Pour Monsieur. Now, this one is the concentrate. I think these days it's called the perfume or something like that. But this, my friends, you know when you talk about legendary fragrances, you know when you talk about those ones which are maybe a little bit hidden in some of these fragrance houses, Pour Monsieur concentrate for me, oh boy, you know what? I could get carried away. I could seriously get carried away and do a 24-hour live stream on this one. And once again, you might say maybe it's a bit of an oak moss balm, it may be from the back in the day, but once again, my friends, it's a Chanel legend, okay, an instantly recognised legend. Now, when we come to the Allure line, I think it was about 1999. You remember the year everything was going to crash in the following year because it was the year 2000. Look at that. That is the original Allure. A beautifully sexy, fresh, very, very wearable fragrance. It took fragrances out of the old school and into what we have these days. Chanel Allure. And then obviously Chanel Allure was very successful. Then we had the Chanel Allure Homme Sport. Okay, so it's a lot fresher, it's a lot creamier, and it's a lot more sort of energetic, shall we say, than the original Allure. Then we get to the pinnacle of things, the Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. Oh boy. If you want a fragrance that is guaranteed to get you compliments, if you want a fragrance which you can just basically put on every single day of the year, any season, any setting, anywhere you're going, Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. It is a fresh, creamy, sexy fragrance. A very, very easy wear. But the problem with that is for the 100ml. Oh, okay. The problem in general with Chanel, as opposed to maybe Calvin Klein and Hugo Boss, the problem with Chanel in general is the price. Okay. I wouldn't class Chanel as particularly incredible value for money. Okay, they're incredible smells. Each one I say is a legend, but the prices on Chanel are sort of a little bit eye-watering. For the average 100ml, you are spending at least 100 British pounds. In the case of Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme, this 100ml here in the UK will cost you around about £110. Okay, it is not a cheap fragrance. So when I was on eBay a few months back, quite a few months back, and I came across a Pendora Scents version. See, when I saw the picture I thought, hey up, I know what that's supposed to be. Okay, let's put them side by side and you're going to go, yeah, there ain't a massive amount of difference. They've really sort of gone to town on this one. When I saw this ALLUSION Eau de Sport Extreme by Pendora Scents, I thought, because I'll be honest with you, this is my second bottle of Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. Literally, when it launched back in the day, I went and bought a bottle. And I was so totally blown away with this, literally blown away. Within 6 months, I had destroyed my first bottle. So I went back and I bought another bottle, that's it, okay? And I've slowed down on how much I use it. But to be fair, that's probably over halfway down. So when I saw this, and it was for around about 38 British pounds, and I've got to be honest, Pendora Scents, I'm a massive, massive fan of Pendora Scents because their clones are quality clones, okay? I haven't come across yet a Pendora Scents that sort of misses the mark or isn't very good or whatever. So when I saw this for £38 or make an offer, I thought, Leggy needs to make an offer because I fancy a bit of that. So I put an offer in. And I think I offered around about £25. I thought, I'm going to be silly here. And the seller came back and said, I tell you what, you can have it for £28. And I'm like, okay, £28, I'll have a bit of that. Anyway, I clicked on buy it now, and then it came up with a date, and it was about 3 or 4 weeks ahead, and I looked at it and I thought, oh. It said the seller was dispatching from Delhi in India, and I thought, oh, you see, I normally try and avoid buying from overseas, not because I've got a problem with it, but sometimes you can have stuff gone missing in the post or whatever, or because it's such a long time, I just don't want to wait for that. I normally try and stick with UK sellers, but when it said it was dispatching from Delhi in India, I thought, wait a minute, Birmingham is where I'm at. Delhi in India, it's almost like a totally different country. Although I'm sure there's an argument in there somewhere. So I was like, oh man, I can't believe I didn't notice that. So I thought, all right, Leggy, you're just going to have to sit tight and wait. Well, here's the thing. 9 days later, my friends, 9 days later, this came through nicely wrapped and all that lot, and it was well packaged. It got all the customs things all over the packaging. 9 days later, this arrived, and I was like, I was not expecting it that quick. So fair play. Whoever sold this from Delhi in India, mate, you've got a good postal service. 9 days later to Birmingham. Absolutely incredible. And it came through, and I unpackaged it, and I thought, okay, it all looks good. Took the top off, and I sprayed it. Now, the first thing I will say is the spray is literally a... Right, okay. The original, it puts a lot on there. I don't know if you can see this, but the sprayer is like just a little puff. Now, totally different now. But when I first sprayed it, I was like, oh, I smelt it. And I'll tell you exactly what it smelled like. It smelt like some kind of savoury food. It smelt like it had gone off, and I thought, oh, I've been done here. It's nothing like Chanel Allure Homme Sporto Extreme. And I thought, Leggy, mate, you've been absolutely ripped off here. Oh, sorry, I'm just smelling it now. Totally different. So I thought, Leggy, maceration. So I sprayed it about 15-20 times, and I put it in the back of my wardrobe. I left it there for about 2 weeks, and I thought, I really hope this changes. I came back to it 2 weeks later. And I kid you not, my friends, it is a completely different fragrance to what it was when I first sprayed it when it had just arrived from Delhi. Okay. How, in terms of smell, do these two stack up? I'm actually going to say the original Chanel is just somewhat classier. I can't tell you exactly what the difference is, but the Pendora Scents, it is very obviously doing Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme, but it just perhaps misses slightly, not enough to worry you. And I'm talking about up close. In the air, trust me, this is Chanel perfectly. Up close, it's just not quite there. Okay, so on the skin, not quite right. In the air, trust me, in the air, you will not tell the difference between these two. Okay. Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. At the top end of this fragrance, you've got a sexy, creamy orange. Absolutely gorgeous orange. That orange is paired with some sexy mint. Okay, there's not a massive amount of mint, but there's enough mint to just make that top end absolutely zingy, creamy, fresh. Then you drop down, and in the middle, there's some beautifully sweet, smooth pepper. The peppers are nice. You know, sometimes peppers can be a bit piercing. They're not. They're creamy peppers in this one. And then at the base, you've got musk, very wearable musk, very easy wear musk. Sorry, I just want to compare. Yeah, okay, spot on. You've got some musk, you've got some sweet, smooth cedarwood. And then the big difference between the Allure Homme Sport and the Extreme is a lorry load of tonka. Now the tonka, for me, I'm a massive tonka fan. Okay, it's a creamy, sexy, almost chocolatey, but very intensely sweet thing tonka is. Okay, and they basically lorry loaded a ton of tonka on top of the original Allure Homme Sport to make it the Eau Extreme. That's what makes it the Eau Extreme. And the Pendora Scents is there or thereabouts. Okay, I'm actually going to say, I'm going to be brutally honest with you and say that the Allure Home Sport and the O Extreme, this one, you know what, you could almost mistake this for the Allure Home Sport, but then when you smell it deep and long enough, then you do get the Extreme. I will be honest with you, the Chanel is absolutely honed to perfection. The Pendora Scents works so hard, and it does a fantastic job. And if you want to put a stupid percentage on it, I'm going to say it's a 92% the same. It just misses something, and I don't know what it is. Alright, maybe it's not actually a fragrance note it's missing, maybe it's just the somehow Chanel classy smoothness. Yeah, it is, you know. It is just the way. I don't know how Chanel have done that one, but Pendora Scents haven't quite got the sexy smoothness. What about performance? Because the original Allure Home Sport O Extreme, for 2.5 hours you get a massive, beautiful protection. Projection. In fact, let me tell you a story. Just the other side of lockdown, I was meeting up with some work colleagues and we were going for a drink. Okay, and it was just the other side of COVID, to the point where it was, if you went into the building you had to wear a mask, but if you were outdoor the building you could take the mask off, right? And we went for some drinks and we were sat at the table. But all my colleagues had got there, my neighbour dropped me off and I walked up to the table, everyone was already there, sat down, whatever. And as I got there, everyone turned round and they all went, "Leggy, you smell so good." And like, I was wearing Chanel Allure Home Sport O Extreme. Admittedly, it was in the first hour of wearing it, but literally everyone turned around and was going, "Leggy, you smell so good." And as I sat down, one of my best mates, one of my colleagues, he says to me, "Leggy, you don't tell us about them all, do you?" And I went, "No, I don't." You know what, that is a secret weapon. Okay, it's not that secret, but that is a weapon that if you want to get complete attention, that's the one. Chanel Allure Home Sport O Extreme. And this is how good it is. For the next half an hour, as we all sat there at that table, that was the topic of conversation. Everyone was talking about how I smelt, what it was, and that they wanted to buy it for their boyfriends, partners or whatever, and the guys just definitely wanted to buy it because it was the topic of conversation for the next 30 minutes. That's how good this fragrance is. And the Pendora Scents sounds incredibly close. Up close on the skin, no so. But in the air, do you know what? For the money, for the £28, which is a quarter of what the real thing is, I'm actually going to say it's great. Now, I've worn it to work a lot, and I always get someone tell me that I smell good. Okay, it is kind of just out the shower, fresh, clean, creamy, smooth, sexy. And that is Chanel Allure Home Sport O Extreme. The Pendora Scents is well worth, if you can getting it, not perhaps to completely substitute the original, but to have where you can spray it and you haven't got to worry about how much you're spraying and how much it's costing you. Okay, and if you want to use that as an everyday fragrance, okay, it is good. What about the performance? 2.5 hours, a big projection, and then a constant sort of trickle off you with your real thing. I'm saying that, I don't know what the current bottles do. That's, I guess you'd class my bottle as a vintage. Okay, fantastic performance on that. What about the Pendora Scents? It is about 1.5 hours of a decent projection, and then it's a scent bubble for a further sort of 3 hours. Okay, so it doesn't quite perform as the Chanel. It doesn't quite have that smooth, classy Chanel-ness about it. But trust me, my friends, it is well worth getting if you can get it at a good price. Okay, long review. I'm just looking at the time. It tells me I've waffled for 20 minutes. Okay, I really, really appreciate you coming to this channel. I appreciate that you think I know everything about fragrances. I really don't. I am a crazy, crazy random guy. This channel is not monetized. I'm not sponsored. I'm not attached to anything. It is literally me, my friends, sharing a hobby with you, sharing these fragrances with you, not to push you into buying them, but to push you into wearing a good fragrance every single day. And if you buy a clone, then you can spray so much more of it and you're not thinking, oh, it's costing me a fortune. So, 3 things. Please consider a thumbs up, because a thumbs up says, Leggy, mate, you waffle so much, but do it again, okay? Thumbs up would be great. Just down there, click it, please. Please stay safe, and please come back for the next video. That's already 3 things. Okay, let's call it 4. Because the 4th, my friends, is the most important. This is what I need you to do. Need you to do. Every day, spray a good fragrance. Spray a good fragrance before you even consider leaving your front door. Okay? If you've got to travel out, stick it in your pocket so you can have a cheeky top up during the day. If you haven't got a little traveller atomizer, the real thing goes in your bag, okay, or in the boot of your car or something. So at lunchtime you can go and top up, because most fragrances maybe just get to about lunchtime. Top up at lunchtime, and then you keep the beautiful vibes coming off you all day, okay? It'll keep a massive, massive, massive smile on your face. You may get a compliment, but even if you don't get a compliment, for your own personal well-being, you are dwelling, you are living in that gorgeous scent bubble. And it is so much better a day that you'll have. Okay, this is a long review. Okay, if you've done some of it, great. If you've done all of it, man, I respect you, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.